Hello, everybody, and welcome to None the Lesser. This is your host, Cody Buchanan. On this week's bonus episode, inspired by my guest, Justin Pape, we're going to be talking about street art, graffiti, stuff like that. When discussing street art, the images that often come to the mind are of bathroom stalls and city walls covered in spray paint and marker, or trains rolling by with elaborate and sometimes impossible to read graffiti. Of course, those are the prominent examples, but street art goes beyond those depictions we all know so well. Street art really took its hold in the 60s and 70s. Primarily in those common forms we think of, with spray paint taking the lead. The term tagging comes into play, which refers to those highly stylized, spray-painted street names you often immediately think of at the mention of graffiti. Artists set out to hone their skills in expanding the meaning of street art and making a name for themselves, or even their own style. The harder to reach a location is, the more respect a tag deserves, especially if the spot could mean risking jail time or your life. And very quickly, gang culture made its way into the world of street art, where tagging over someone else's piece was as insulting as taking their sister out to a nice restaurant. I mean, people have lost their lives getting caught in the act for less. Besides spray paint and markers, what else do street artists work with to make their art? Well, there's stickers, which is pretty straightforward. Stickers. An artist that often comes to mind when thinking of stickers is Shepard Fairey, otherwise known as Obey. You've probably seen the Andre the Giant Has a Posse stickers with the highly stylized black and white. Paint rollers have also been used in street art to create large block letter pieces with straight lines and even really highly detailed, colorful murals. There's stencils, which is cardboard cutouts that are spray painted to leave an image behind quickly. This is very easily dominated by one of the most popular, if not the most popular artist in street art, Banksy, the anonymous artist out of the UK. Then there's installations, which are like sculptures and fixtures, often politically charged or opening the discussion on social issues, sometimes just downright wacky. There's Isaac Cordall or Mark Jenkins, who are known for their installation pieces. There's also wheat pastes using the concept of paper mache, but on walls and other objects. The paper is either printed on or drawn on beforehand and then pasted to the surface using a combination of flour and water, sometimes sugar. Now, this is where my guest this week comes in. Justin Pape was known for doing that at one point, and where his project We Kill You comes in. Obviously, there's so much more than that, but if you consider guerrilla art as a category, the options are truly endless. Guerrilla art can be as simple as an installation, like an easy-to-remove feature added onto a statue, or as complex as planting cabbages in the remnants of an old theater. Then there's eco-graffiti, which often shows up as murals and lettering, but in a natural form, like germinated seeds adhered to a wall. So now we know so many of the mediums that street art covers, and that it's not just teenagers spray painting, bathroom stalls. But the distances some people go for getting their name out there is astonishing. Scaling houses and apartment buildings, that's risky as it is, but common. But scaling bridges such as the Metlac Bridge in Veracruz, Mexico, or the sides of skyscrapers, seriously, look up pictures of Metlac Bridge graffiti. Your palms will sweat. Mine are sweating just thinking of it. Even tagging forbidden locations in parts of the world that have deemed street art taboo, like particular architectural achievements such as the Sydney Opera House, or tagging in countries that are strict on the street art in general, such as Afghanistan or Singapore. In Singapore, Vandalism can be punished with a $2,000 fine or up to 3 years in prison. And to sprinkle some pain and shame on top, 2 German street artists caught in Singapore were sentenced to 3 strokes of the cane and 9 months in jail. And those canings are brutal, sometimes leaving permanent scars. Imagine being the guy that delivers those. Like, you gotta be just like an angry person, just hell-bent on hurting others to cane someone. Like, there's no way that you have just like a straight face. Like, you have to like get into something like that and just be sick, twisted. But that's for another episode. Now, as we talked with Justin Pape in my interview, there's also the cultural element akin to gang culture, and sometimes even imbued by gang culture. I agree with Justin in saying that the whole having beef about tagging over each other or even tagging in a part of town that you're not allowed to because another crew runs it is a bit much. Nobody should ever have their ass kicked over it. But hey, if someone desecrated my work of art, then I don't know. I might want to kick their ass. I've never kicked someone's ass. I don't think I could kick someone's ass, but I might want to. I remember playing the ever-loving shit out of Mark Echo's Getting Up on the Xbox in 2006 and beating down the vandals of New Radius and smearing the campaign of the Civil Conduct Keepers. It was this crazy fighting game that included a whole bunch of street fighting and a gun-toting police state that served to suppress the lower class. It was all revolutionary. I was into graffiti and street art before then, but that game certainly shoved me into the world. Granted, I never did much more with spray paint than used a solid color on some rotting particle board I found in the pasture behind my house. So how much can I really mean by shoved me into the world? But I was certainly infatuated by the art. The most I did was buy those fluorescent garage sale stickers, draw all sorts of creatures and monsters, phrases and words that I thought sounded edgy, and slap them on lockers around the high school. I do remember a time of my best friend and me getting frisked by the police and them finding those stickers in our pockets and looking at us like a couple of idiots. Like we were idiots. Like they also looked like idiots, but we were the idiots. The trouble I got into as a teen is a different story and for another time. Maybe. But make sure to go listen to my interview with Justin Pape, the episode that inspired this bonus. And be sure to follow Nonethelesser on Instagram and wherever you get podcasts. Leave a review on iTunes because it's just good. It's so good when you leave a review on iTunes. Because if you're honest and you tell me that you want me to do something different, I'll probably figure out how to do that thing. Unless it's like, stop doing this because I enjoy doing this. So, yeah, go do all that stuff. This has been Cody Buchanan. Keep an eye out later this week for a spooky episode for my favorite time of the year. I'll see you next time.